lots of people talk about trauma. We talk about trauma a lot on this podcast, but I want to know, how would you define it? Everybody's got their own ways of talking about this same thing, and it's like, multifaceted, right? It's one thing. So as you look at it through your, show and tell here at the Betrayal Recovery Radio podcast, how would you define it? How would you describe it? What is trauma?
So trauma to me is, first of all, you can't put it in a box, right? And so it affects everybody very differently. We have traumas. We've all heard the phrase about we have little t traumas, we have big T traumas. For me, experiencing trauma was a state of feeling literally like my entire world crumbled in a moment. It was like the earthquake that hit, but didn't stop shaking. And then after the earthquake hit, there were aftershocks. And I tell people I'm almost 9 years out and I still experience aftershocks. The difference is this, though. The aftershocks are never as large and the recovery is far more quickly. I know what to do, right?
Say that again.
The shocks are not nearly as large, right? The aftershocks are not nearly as large, and the recovery is far more quick. It's much more quickly, because
there's some hope.
There's hope, because here's the thing is that the more that you work through your trauma recovery, the more that you heal, the more that you grow, the more tools you have in your tool belt, and the more quickly that you know how to resurrect from those triggers that happen, because they still happen. They still happen to me. And not only that, but when I'm going through the trigger, when I'm having an aftershock, I know what to do. It's kind of like the first time that you go through, I remember I survived a tornado, right? And what happened when, in my house, we were on top of a hill where I grew up, and this tornado was coming straight at our home. And this is a true story. And I remember all of us standing at the big bay window looking out and not knowing what to do. And you're literally seeing this tornado coming right at you, and you're like, we didn't know what to, like, what do you do? Even though we were told, earlier in our life, like, hey, listen, if anything happens, this you're trained for it, because I lived in Wisconsin in the Midwest. But in the moment, we didn't know what to do. And so we ran downstairs, we got shelter, yet we didn't do it in the moment. Right. And so it took us a little bit. It was like we had to go through our own fight, flight, freeze, like, what do we do moment. Right. And the more that the aftershocks happen for me now in my life, the more quickly I know, okay, Sarah, hand on your heart, breathe, know that you're safe, know that you have everything within you, ground yourself. And it just becomes a much more, it's like a daily way of living.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.